share the screen. All right, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great morning. So let me just bring that right here. Great. So let's start this session. Let's look at the market and how we will play today. So first thing first, model remains in correction. So basically price started to live below the 21 DMA structure. So yeah, we had that gap down, and yesterday was kind of an inside day. So the close was good. So a bit of constructive action near the close. But until I think 15 minutes before the market close, it was near the lows. And to be honest, it was not looking very good with Brett even being below the prior day. So things were accelerating, a bit of constructive action near the close. And yeah, we'll have to see how this close carry into today's session. But yeah, just saying price below the 21 DMA structure, and that's just a warning signal right away. So that being said, keep in mind that the market remains very short-term extended to the downside, but we do have some room still with the stocks above their 21 and their 50, so a bit more short-term to mid-term. There's a lot of room either side, so there's certainly room to a longer pullback, and there's also space for a good bounce and maybe retest those high, retest the daily structure, or even start a new leg higher. But until we really confirm it breadth-wise, that will be hard to get any traction, right? So as a reminder, we are contracting. Breadth is contracting since the start of August, and apart one hookup mid August, it was a one-way street, right? So breadth was declining with small kind of hookup attempts, but so far it's really strong to the downside. So I shared that view yesterday, but we'll have to look how we and where we find support in this pullback. So apart the weighted indices, the unweighted indices all trade below moving averages. So there's certainly kind of a stealth pullback below the surface, and that's what you feel as well in the last few weeks and months, as after April rally, the market is going sideways and basing and digesting. So which way it will swing, which way it will break, only time will tell. But the only thing that I know is I don't have good traction in my trades. Every attempt to position basically fail. So yeah, the market needs either some time or price correction. But so far with breadth declining and contracting, that's certainly harder to position. So yeah, let's look if we want to retest those lows, which maybe would put us for 2-3 more weeks of this chop or pullback action, and that would set up the market for a really good move. So the goal from here, yes, I I took some hit last week, this week as well. But the goal from here is really to um, manage that drawdown, reduce the chop and the small cuts in the account, and to wait for more confirmation. So, anticipation trade yesterday didn't work as well. So, my job will really be to be more patient and see where the McClellan summation goes. And that will really tell you the story about which side the wind is blowing, right? So if the McClellan summation is contracting like right now, you know that basically the wind is at your face and it will be harder to get traction or any. And if you start to get those nice uptrend and breadth expanding, then it's your easy dollar market. So that's where you want to trade, right? During those period, and usually they come after extended downtrend back to this area. So let's watch for this and be patient until it happens. What else? So let's look at so let's just bring NQ and Nasdaq in general. So weighted, and this is yeah, there's a lot of mega caps in there, but still is always good to take a look, and especially the weekly view. So we're still above that base structure that we retested. We are still building higher lows. We're having a nice weekly candle right in the 10-week moving average structure. So right now, that's why I remain optimistic and constructive in my trading, is unless we give that back and we really start to break down from here, that's just basing. That's just base building, and that's what we see in mega caps. That's what we see in the liquid leaders right now. So it's very choppy, yes, but until it breaks down, it remains kind of LT action. But it's just harder to manage risk with tight stop loss. Um, Nice rejection of the weekly structure on the credit spread yesterday in the last 2 days. Same thing for VIX. VIX rejected the weekly structure after a nice spike. It's not a big spike, right? We're not pulling back or flushing or anything. But yeah. Something to note this morning, yields look like a potential breakdown from that kind of small base and lower highs below the weekly structure. So let's see. That's something that we'll have to look for, and that's kind of a big monthly VCP. So we had that 2021, 2022, and 2023, kind of that big uptrend. We went sideways and really built that VCP on the weekly. And now looks like we want to break down from here. So that's something to look for in the next few days for sure. And Bitcoin continue to hold that base area, but does live below weekly structure and daily structure as well. So we do have that price structure here. We have the daily structure, so 21 DMA structure that we so far reject on the retest. So yesterday we closed strong into it. Today a bit of a fade. And you know what I'll look for. That's the same thing as I look in a pullback for the market or in any stocks. After a retest and rejection, look for a higher low. So that would set up Bitcoin very, very well for next week. We can come back for maybe today, 2 3 days into the weekend, build the right side, create that higher low, and then if we reclaim the 21 DMA structure, that price structure as well, that would really set Bitcoin well into next week. All right, so now the charts, the focus list that I shared. Basically, I'll try to focus on weekly setups. So market has been basing for the last few weeks, and I think that good moves will come from clean bases and kind of the weekly structure area. So that's why I want to focus on weekly chart for the rest of the week. So yeah, Tesla still building higher lows in the weekly structure. So let's look how we close the week. But a close above the weekly structure would be kind of the first close since that initial April rally, right? So we never quite closed above that weekly structure. And if today and tomorrow is good action on Tesla and we close above that pivot and that structure, that will be a really good setup into next week. Same thing for Uber. So Uber is still building that base on base setup. So you have that multi-month base on base right here. We tried to break out, came back in to retest the 10-week structure in that base area. And yeah, maybe this week, if we can manage to close strong in the upper range of the structure, or next week on the weekly reversal pivot. Netflix still like that setup a lot. It's setting up very well with that weekly shakeout. Look for last week's high pivot for a weekly reversal. You have Palantir. So Palantir still building nicely in the weekly structure. Too tight inside weeks, and you can look at last week's high reclaim for a weekly reversal. We're still holding that base structure. That was a lot of momentum to the downside. So let's see kind of that 2 weeks flag, which way it will swing. But we'll have our confirmation, right? So we have a clear structure to play long. I'm not playing short, but we have a clear structure to invalidate the trade here. Hood is still on my radar, recent leading stock, but I think it will need a bit more time. Pretty weak after that gap. We're still holding kind of the base structure here. So yeah, I'm not too in a hurry to engage back in Hood based on the last few days action, but still on my radar. Micron still building very nicely. Maybe we need more time, but that weekly pivot will be something to look for confirmation. AMD still looking good for reversal and a new weekly high. We're still right in the structure, but we're building kind of that first continuation pattern after that breakout, right in the 10-week moving average structure. So another to look at the end of this week. And finally, which one? Palantir. No, we did. Sorry. Netflix, we did. Spot. So yeah, Spot. Another nice weekly base for a few weeks. We've been retested that base structure right here. kind of a shakeout on earnings, and then we're building that higher low structure just above the base area and the 10-week, the weekly structure. So look at last week's high for a weekly reversal. That would set up the weekly chart very well. So a bit the same thing that I'll usually look for to engage on daily chart, but applied to weeklies. Um, so yeah, like I said, I want to focus a bit more on the weekly setup with where the market is in its cycle, and yeah, still very good daily setups, but I just want a bit more confirmation from the weekly. Um, so we did the market. Only thing that's missing is the pre-market checklists for me today. So we're trading below the daily structure. We're trading below the weekly structure as well. McClellan summation is in a downtrend, still below the 10-day. And there's no overbought on oversold to play on anticipation. Short-term to long-term bread, there's no oversold yet. There's that 5 DMA extension, which is oversold, but that's a shorter signal that I want to track here. VIX, good rejection of the weekly structure. Same thing for credit spread. So there's some constructive action here, but very early. Let's see where we close the week. And finally, Bitcoin still in a downtrend below daily and weekly structure. So nothing for me to do here. Like I explained, still looking for that higher low structure to build on the right side. That would really set up well into next week. So model still on correction. Something that I wanted to look. Yeah, something else to look, guys, is the new high and lows. So we're kind of flipping around. We started to see kind of a small cluster of net new lows on the Nasdaq, and the cumulative new 50 high and lows starting to kind of flatten out. That's basing action, and you have that contraction as well, as we made lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So we're definitely contracting in those new highs. There's less and less of them, simply because the market contracted and corrected. So something to look at in the next few days, if we start to really flip on the net new lows and start to expand, which would be kind of another warning signal for the market, just to expect a bit more downside. Not more bear market territory, but just simply implying that there might be more downside. So yeah, still on correction. Every moving averages are aligned. Price lives below daily and weekly structures, and we started to see kind of this net new lows clusters. I'm still defensive, and no trades allowed for me today, based on everything that I explained. I think that weighted Nasdaq still look good, still building that base into the daily and weekly structure, but we need to close this week strong. And we also have the job reports tomorrow, which tend to be quite market moving events lately. So yeah, something to look for tomorrow. So unless we see a really strong Brett Truss tomorrow to close the week, personally, there's no trade for me today. I want to stay out of that chop and limit the drawdown, like I explained. And yeah, I will look to take a few positions, maybe from weekly setups tomorrow, but only if we get those weekly confirmation that I covered. And if we can manage to show that McClellan started to ease up, to hook up, and to show a bit more participation in the market. All right, any questions, guys? I think it's a wrap up. So we have a question from Udo. According to dashboard model correction, is the composition somewhere explained? Yes, of course, it's all there. So you go right here. Everything is explained. So trend model correction. So midterm and long term equal false. So midterm is the 10 is above the 21 DMA, and the McClellan is above the 10-day moving average. And there's net new highs. And the long term, so the 21 is above the 50, and the net new highs cumulative is above the 50 DMA. So right now, what we have is midterm is false because the 21 is below the 10, McClellan is below the 10-day, but we still have net new highs. So those two conditions are false. And the long term is false because the 21 DMA is now sloping below the 50 DMA. So in that case, that's why the long term is also false, and that brings the model to a correction state. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Let's put the 21. Right, so you have that 50 DMA structure. It's not the 21 right now, but you see that just now in the last few days, especially with that gap down, I think the day before, that 21 started to slope below the 50. So that's why it's not just a pullback like you get in November of last year. These pullback because the 21 is still above the 50. But that's the type of correction that you get right here, and the type of correction that you get right here. So I'm not anticipating anything. I'm just showing what the model is and why it flips to a correction. So you can go back in time and see those corrections. So 2025 in March. So that was the start of a correction after that deep leg down, and then we came to retest moving averages and made a new leg lower. This one was a small one, so 21 flipped below the 50 here as well, but we basically based on their moving averages. And then there was this rally attempt here, which led to a new uptrend attempt. And yeah, the other one was in 2023. So yeah, basically that's why we're in a correction model state. And keep in mind, it could be the model will flip to correction, but it might not be kind of a price correction. It can be a time correction, because if the price is just drifting down, basing, and all those moving averages are kind of sloping down and getting in line in a downtrend, then you get that time correction, and that's okay. It just put you in defensive, and the market will flip very quickly in a rally attempt or a rally if price reclaim the 21 DMA. So another question from David. Yes, one thing, Alex, it's a lot of more stock on the 50 DMA screener versus the 10-week MA screener. Yeah, I don't use the 50 DMA screener anymore. Is that that's the one, right? So yeah, that's not one that I use anymore. I might have to remove it from the library. The one that I use in that are in my favorites are I changed the name last night. So Liquid Leaders Weekly Structure Setup. That's the one that I shared last night. And the daily setups, right? With the 21 DMA, and that's the one that I really use. This one was kind of a first attempt, so I can maybe remove it just to be okay. Yeah, that's this one. There you go, problem fixed. So use the weekly structure one. All right, so 9:22. Like I said, not planning any trades today unless we are really showing some nice breadth trust action. And in that case, that will be from the weekly setups that I shared in the focus list and that we covered this morning. So have a great day, guys. Enjoy the session. If there's any more questions, I will be hanging around as usual. Have a good day. Bye bye.